Hi everyone, this is Bic Benedict. We're resuming our campaign on Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 on Master Ninja difficulty. I slayed the crow right there. There's two crows you could slay, although it doesn't give you much but some satisfaction about killing a bird. So, this is my advanced tactics video guide and walkthrough. In the previous video I mentioned, I kind of glossed over why I was doing why I was going the route of saying that these were advanced tactics. But first let me talk about these dogs. First, we have one dog here. You want to do UTs on these guys, and if you don't have enough time to do a UT, what you need to do is fly swallow them to stun them, and then do an Azuna drop combo. Two Azuna drop combos will take these guys down. They will kill you. If they bite your ankle and kill you, you're dead. It doesn't matter how much health you have. It's really a bad situation with those dogs. So I did upgrade the sword to level 2, and my thinking for that was I can't do advanced combos and different types of things if my blade remains at level 1. So I am going to be upgrading the blade to level 3. I was thinking about, I genuinely considered not upgrading the blade. Because all this time I've always wanted to do a run where I upgrade my health but I don't upgrade my weapons, so that it's harder to face enemies and it takes more hits to kill these guys. But this is the bridge fight where you get a life of the gods, and in the previous video, in the introduction of that video, within the first couple of minutes I think, I was talking about why I'm doing the guide, and who should not watch the guide. I mean, anybody can watch the guide. I'm just saying that if you're a beginner, you want to consult my original Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 video guide, where I show you a lot of good techniques for going around corners and charging attacks, finding all the tripwire points that exist in this game, and what I actually misspoke in my previous video when I said I've done another guide for this game only. I've done 2 guides. I think it was back in January, coming off my playing Razor's Edge, which I think is not a good game whatsoever. But anyway, I'm not going to destroy that game, with words, because I've already talked a lot about how I don't like it and how I don't think it works very well. There was my original guide back last year. I don't remember what month it was, but it was last year, was the original guide for this game, and there you saw I just took a heal right there. And so that's the first guide. And the second guide, well, let me first say that the first guide I made was me trying to get the Path of the Master Ninja trophy. The second guide I did last January was me trying to get the I don't know what they are. Now I know what they are. The first trophy, if you just beat Master Ninja mode, you get cleared the Path of the Master Ninja. But if you go through the chapter challenges and get Master Ninja ranks on all the chapters, you get Master the Path of the Master Ninja. So this is actually the third guide I've done for this game. And this is an advanced technique, I guess you'd call it, because what you do is you cast the Inferno while you're running on the water, and we want to take that guy out who's placed there in a very criminal and sadistic manner right there. So just be very wary of these dogs as well. I mean, one bite from them and you're dead. It's that kind of disparity between the hit damage and other damage you receive in this game is very egregious and offensive to me as a player. So there's the second crow you can hit if you want to. We're going to save it now. And I'm going to trigger these guys and then fall back. We have an archer and two great ninjas. So what I like to do is try to get off one of those parries. So basically, a parry, you're blocking, and then when the enemies are making contact with your weapon, you press the square button or the triangle button. And I also was reviewing my first video, and I said XXY a lot, and obviously those are Xbox 360 controls, but I've just been so used to playing Ninja Gaiden 2 of late that it's always been XXY. But whenever I say XXY, I mean square, square, triangle. So this room is pretty tough because you're just kind of ganged up on all the enemies, but all they are gray ninjas. But even so, they're very aggressive. So what I wanted to emphasize before about this whole advanced technique, or excuse me, because on the title cards of all these videos, it's going to say advanced techniques. The techniques that advanced tactics. And the tactics that you're going to see me do are not the most sophisticated and groundbreaking tactics that you'll ever see. I'm just saying that what I want to, my goal, let me put it that way, my goal for this series of videos is going to be this. I want to, because I wrote some notes too, just for preparation. I speak extemporaneously when I do these, but sometimes I do like to jot some notes down so I can make sure I'm speaking on the right topics. But my goal for this, I want to first establish, but more emphasize the progression of personal skill level from my previous guides. But that said, I was also thinking about that, and then I kind of, I was wool gathering a little bit, and then I said to myself, well, yes, I'm going to progress as a player. It happens inevitably. You get better. It's not like you get worse for playing. But that said, we all play the way we play. I mean, we all have our individual play styles. So with advanced tactics, I just wanted to differentiate my gameplay style from that of how it was before. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to say less when I do these commentaries. So, one final thing, just the last thing I have notes for here, is that with these advanced tactics, I just want to bring different combo incorporations into my gameplay and discover new ways to deal with enemies and how to deal with bosses. Because in my previous guides, I've never faced the Genshin and Elizabeth doubleheader in the final chapter. I've never not used that dead body Genshin trick, and it's always been a source of extreme shame to me. And it's kind of needless to be ashamed of that, but I feel how I feel, and I feel ashamed, so I'm not going to do that. I also regret skipping a fight in the Momiji section, and I'm not going to do that. So we have one archer up there, so I would suggest coming down here and fighting these guys where you cannot get hit by the flaming arrow. I also discovered, well, I don't know if it's proof of this, but in Ninja Gaiden 2, it seemed that you had a lot more iframes during the reversed wind. And if you don't know what that is, you shouldn't be watching this, because you should watch my other guide. But when I'm doing the reversed wind, say I take out one guy with an OT, I go in to take another guy out with another OT via the reversed wind, and the guys who are in OT status are obviously the most dangerous enemies that you'll ever encounter in this game, because they'll grab onto you and kill you with a kamikaze attack. But what I was discovering was OTing one guy, doing the reverse wind, going over to the other guy, but he would grab me before I could press the Y button. And I'm accustomed to having full iframes during the reversed wind, and then I press the well, when I play the Ninja Gaiden 2, I press Y. When I play this game, I press the triangle button. So I'm just not sure if those particular enemies, the de-limbed enemies in this game, who are either divested of an arm or walking around with one leg, or excuse me, I guess you can't do that, but just crawling around with one leg. So we'll have to see how that materializes a little bit more. I haven't tested it, but I know I've been killed a lot due to that. Also, I upgraded not the lunar, but the dragon sword, because Genshin can be Azuna dropped, but the only thing he can be Azuna dropped with is the lunar staff. And I would typically upgrade the lunar on this chapter. I would usually upgrade it to level 2 so that I could deal more damage to him and not have to have so much stamina in battle. But this time around, it's not really about stamina. I need more skill, and I need to have more stamina in battle. So that's why I elected to not upgrade that weapon. I'm still going to use that weapon to defeat him, but I want my hits to take less away so that I could survive a little bit longer in the battle without having to resort to a weapon that deals more damage. So that's where I'm coming from there. So I like to stand in this corner here, and up ahead I did unintentionally unspawn a pair of archers. And anyone who watched my Ninja Gaiden 2 guides, well, the first guide, when I was unspawning enemies, I wasn't doing it in the second guide because it's cheap, but I thought that this game solved that problem of having enemies unspawn on you, but I guess they just continued the trend, or they didn't fix that aspect of the game. So when I went back to save it, because I was close to the save point when I was finishing off killing an IS ninja. So it'll happen up here. I like to spawn the enemy first. There's really no point of fighting an IS ninja when there are archers shooting at you. So I just come back over here and try to parry his attacks, and failing that, just doing a Zuna drop, and this wound us up down here. So I was close enough to the save point to where I could say, let me just go back to the save point, save my data. And as far as saving it, save however often you feel like it. You don't need me to tell you when to save it. The saves have an infinite amount of saves on them. You can heal once and then save as many times as you want to. Be as tentative or as risky as you want with the saves. It's up to you. I kind of straddle the middle line of that reasoning. But these guys were gone, and I expected them to be here, but I didn't realize that, once again, that enemies unspawn in this game. So that box contains health, but I don't need health. So when you come up here, you're going to have an archer or two shooting arrows at you. Hugging the wall prevents them from hitting you. And I don't think I go for that chest over to the left right now. This is a very difficult situation because we have a dog. 2 dogs, actually. So those guys have to be your priority. And I choose to throw an Nimpo at them, because it is a long way from the save point up to this upper area, and to get one hit killed by a dog is pretty ridiculous, and I don't think it needs to be that way, but they made it that way, and that's how we're going to have to deal with this situation. I also remarked in the last video that I don't like fighting as the female protagonists, and someone actually commented and kind of echoed that sentiment. And then I told that person that I don't like it either, but it's in the game. There's no skipping it, unless you're doing chapter challenge, but this isn't chapter challenge. So you either have to get good with fighting those female fighting as them, or you're going to perish. There's only 2 options. You get better, or you die. So a lot of the times also I don't attempt to parry that cartwheel attack of the Grey Ninjas. They seem to do it when you're idle a lot. And sometimes it's just not worth it, because you'll get killed if you fail. So now I'm going down here to restock on my health, and also to get that treasure chest, which will it'll give you ghost fish, or it'll give you money. And I was really a stickler about always getting the money every single time, but these days I don't even care, because I'm using so few items that it doesn't matter if I rack up a ton of money, because I'm saving money by not using items. Now we're headed to the roof. You don't have to fight the mage and the IS ninja, but I'm leaving no head unsevered. That was my motto for the second campaign of Ninja Gaiden 2, and it's a motto that I'm going to continue here, because I think it's hardcore and it's kind of funny too, but to leave no head unsevered is something that I enjoy doing. So that should take care of this guy. There we go. Now we're going to hop on down here, and I thought there's more enemies. There are more. There's a lot more. I think it's strictly mages in Ninja Gaiden 2. So I got the triangle parry right there. Decided to not finish it up with an Azuna drop. Just be very careful down here. I needed to get that archer out of the way pronto. And up ahead here, I was a little confused because I hadn't played this game since, it's been a while since I played this version, and in Ninja Gaiden 2, which I played more recently, you have to shoot an arrow into the target up ahead. And in this game, they don't do that. They've really stripped this game down to the bare minimum. And a lot of the areas, even though this game looks gorgeous, a lot of the areas are kind of bland. Just because, I think it's because of the enemies. There's just not a lot of things populating the areas. So I applied a Devil Way Mushroom, and now we're going to be facing the mid-level boss. There is no checkpoint, so this is a very tedious situation up here. So we're taking out archers. I think it takes 3 hits to kill the archer, and then they're dead. You get all your orbs. You don't have to go hunting for them. Another thing I don't like about this game is that the orbs always come to you. In Ninja Gaiden 2 and in Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Black, the orbs would just hover in the air, allowing you to go wherever you want to. Obviously, they would evaporate, but you could chain attacks from far away and drag essence, which I love to do. So here's the boss from level 1. We're facing him again in a more confined area here. He has no new attacks. But imagine fighting this guy with like 3 or 4 IS ninjas who are spamming those shurikens at you the whole time in Ninja Gaiden 2. So this is just a breeze to do. So I let him claw at me, and then I go in for the Azuna drop. So this guy is another one of those health regenerators, so you've really got to get on this guy, throw Nimpo, charge attacks. I'm also going to be using other weapons than just the Dragon Sword. But the 2 other weapons that I have currently, namely the Lunar and the Falcon's Talons, are not weapons that I particularly enjoy using. Especially since I cannot fly swallow / Azuna drop with the Falcon's Talons. I don't know why they took that out of this game. It was one of the funnest moves to do, and I think a lot of people can agree with me. But weapons that I do enjoy using very much are the dual blades, the Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang. And I was really surprised that that particular weapon is not in Ninja Gaiden Black. It's in Sigma, it's in Ninja Gaiden 2, it's in this game, but it's not in Ninja Gaiden Black, so that's regrettable, really is. The weapons that I do enjoy using, by the way, are the Tonfa and the dual katanas. I think those are just the 2 weapons I like to use. I'm very picky. Dragon Sword, though, being my favorite to use. Also, what was I going to say? What is harder, this game or Ninja Gaiden 2? It's hard to say. Ninja Gaiden 2, a lot of people think is harder, but I think it's not as hard as this game, just due to the fact that you don't receive as much damage on that game as you do on this game. I just prefer Itagaki's way of distributing damage with a lot of enemies. I would rather fight a lot more enemies and receive less damage, around the board, than deal with fewer enemies and receive more damage. So that attack right there, I will need to reference with an annotation because I forgot what it's called. Sorry about that. So we're hitting the save point, and this part I lost some footage. My Fraps recorder was on. But sometimes there's a delay, and it starts capturing too late. So, no enemies over here except that one guy. Don't fall through the trapdoor, obviously. I'm going to grab the Devil Way Mushroom. The Devil's Way Mushroom. I think it's called Devil Way Mushroom in Ninja Gaiden 2. I'll have to check that. And I know a lot of people are surprised when they hear me say Ninja Gaiden 2 is easier of these 2 games. But that's just how I feel. From my experience, I played. This is my 3rd guide for this game. I've done 2 guides for Ninja Gaiden 2. I'm not going to keep saying that all the time, but I'm just saying an honest answer to that question is what I've been saying. this game's harder. For me personally, you know, it differs from person to person. But I personally feel that the Xbox 360 controller is not a good controller, especially for playing a hack and slash game. I mean, I got used to it, but I had to take the rumble motors out to make it less heavy. And I've never understood why. I guess I can kind of understand why the evade button and the block button are the left triggers. It is the left trigger. But this game is more suited to the PS3 controller. And I know Ninja Gaiden 2 was specifically made for the Xbox, and it's a great exclusive. It really is. It is my favorite game of all time. But, you know, and I say that even though I detest the Xbox 360 controller. So what I liked to do in Ninja Gaiden 2 was fly, swallow, Zuna drop all these guys. You cannot fall off the rail, so don't really concern yourself with that too much. Someone also asked me a really good question. What would, you know, if I could combine the elements of Ninja Gaiden 2 in this game, and also take out the bad parts, what would be the ideal Ninja Gaiden 4? And I told that individual, we need the feature in this game where you have the camera pan away from you while you're charging attacks. We need all the really great challenges from Ninja Gaiden 2. We need the Lunar 360 attacks. We need the Flying Swallow, Izuna Drop attack, things of that nature. But that was a good question, and I appreciate it. But now we're going to go on to face the final boss of this chapter, Genshin. And I go up here with the Dragon Sword equipped, but I do switch over. So don't forget to get this, and I'm going to go for Izuna Drop, since you can't do that on Ninja Gaiden 2, so it's a luxury to be able to do it here, and it's fun too. So I think I heal. This is like the first time I've ever fought this guy that I haven't healed excessively. But you do have to kind of know when you can do an Izuna Drop, and that time occurs during the window, during the fight when he has let his combo run out. That's also a good opportunity to do it right there. Even if you fail to do the Izuna Drop, and it's not a failing on my part, but sometimes it's just the game won't let you Izuna Drop him every single time. But he's a very fierce opponent. But if you have the Lunar up to level 2, you'll obviously deal more damage via the Izuna Drop. But I have it at level 1, as I said, and I'm just trying to be the best I can. And I think I only healed one time, but normally I would have to use every single healing item at my disposal here. I might heal another time, but so always keep your guard up. Don't evade, because he has anti-air attacks, meaning he'll cut you down in midair if you jump near him. You could jump when you're far away from him, like I did there. If you get caught on his attacks, though, it's just very hard to get. Yeah, I used 2 healing items, so that was good. And when he gets low on health, he tosses the Void at us 2 times. That's the first time he does it. So always just keep your guard up. And be contemplative here when you're fighting this guy. Size him up like he's, like he is the enemy that you've always had in real life. And just watch his moves, study him, and don't just, button mash. And I know people don't do that. People who are this hardcore don't do that. But you have to study your opponents in this game, and you have to learn what they do. And you have to learn when to back off, when you can be aggressive, and things of that nature. And that's going to make you a better winner in these boss fights. So even if you have to take your time, like I'm doing here, I'm just not chancing it, because I want to strike when I know I can. I'm not just constantly trying to do the Azuna drop like some jackass.